Yeah, I was part of the February 2024 cohort, having spent many years in both commercial sales and marketing, but also in fundraising in the charity sector. So in a couple of charities, I'd used Salesforce. Charity fundraising in particular is very, very data heavy. You make your decisions based on data about a lot of people. So I had used Salesforce in a small grant making charity. I'd also used it as part of setting up a brand new service within Guide Dogs, within a national charity. So I was there when Guide Dogs implemented Salesforce in 2014, I think it was. The charity I was at before I moved into the Salesforce ecosystem, we were running off a database called Harlequin, which is basically we were running off no database at all. It got in the way of what we did. It was awful. And it started to make me fall out of love with what I was doing. So January 2024, things changed quite suddenly for me, and I was looking for something new to do. I came to Salesforce, I'd say I knew it from previous jobs. I'd also heard about Supermums from my data manager at the previous charity where I'd been working, that was using Salesforce, and she was very positive about Supermums. I think she was actually looking at doing some Supermums training. So I was working with her. She was a bit of an accidental admin. She took over Salesforce because it was something she was interested in, but she wasn't actually qualified, and she was finding that was a bit of a barrier to her going forward. So I got that in my background. And then I also saw, it was a post on LinkedIn from an acquaintance of mine who's a US military wife. So I've moved around the US, I think 17 times in about 21 years with 4 children. And she was in Salesforce ecosystem. She'd just got a new certificate, and I started talking to her about it. And those conversations got me then in a great call with Lynn, who is a wonderful evangelist, but also very realistic. I found talking to Lynn fantastic about, she'll talk to you as an individual, what Salesforce can do for you, what Supermums can do for you. I'd very much recommend getting a call in with the wonderful Lynn, who inspired me. We went back and forward, I thought for a bit, and then I signed up. So February 2024, I was then on the cohort with wonderful Liam, who's also on this call. And don't get your head too big, Liam, but you're awesome. we have to forget to, we tell him he's wonderful. Absolutely great training program, 3 hours a week online, and then a lot of supported work. You do have to put the work in, but I put it in, a lot of work with Liam, with my mentor. So I was matched with a mentor at Capgemini, who again was just wonderful. We chose how to work that relationship. We worked it out, the way that the amount of contact that we wanted, it worked for us. So the support's provided but not dictated, which worked perfectly for me. So I passed my certificate in July last year. The most nerve-wracking 20 seconds is between when you press submit on your exam and then wait for the results to come back. That 20 seconds lasts about 15 years. But passed, then took some time off. I wasn't really trying that hard. I was in a nice position, but thinking about what I wanted to do. I then did my internship with a charity who are based up in the Northwest, a Muslim charity who provide child sponsorship. That was really interesting. That was the first time I'd worked completely remote. I never actually met them, but had a really, really interesting experience doing things that were new to me. So I was delivering training to them. I was delivering training to the whole organisation, which was a great learning curve. I then started looking for jobs. As I said, I've got a charity sector background. I wasn't sure if I wanted to stay in the charity sector initially, but then actually thinking about it went, I am driven by purpose. I mean, it matters to me to work for somebody that actually makes a difference. And that's the reason I went into the charity sector nearly 17 years ago. It's not an easy sector. It's not well resourced. There's always the feeling of, do we spend money on support systems or on frontline work? So people think the charity sector's nice and fluffy and easy. No, I would say it's actually probably harder than a lot of corporate jobs. But I was looking for roles, got some really good feedback on things, on developing skills. So did some additional volunteering work to develop skills that I hadn't already got. And then at the beginning of February, secured the role that I started on the 10th of March as CRM Manager for Leukemia UK. So we are a £3 million charity with 30 employees, 30 Salesforce users who fund research into blood cancer, into all types of leukemia. Now, I've got a real connection to that cause. One of my best friends died of leukemia in 2020. It's one of those connections that I really, really wish I didn't have. He was a scientist. He would have researched. He would have been researching into a cure for the disease that killed him if he could. So to me, that matters. I'm still able to make a real difference to something that matters to me. I'm 3 days a week, which works perfectly for my situation, absolutely brilliantly. I'm taking over from somebody who has been working 3 days a week, who now wants to up her hours to 5 days a week. So again, I've got a really nice handover, which is perfect. It's a challenging role. So our history is Leukemia UK was formed from 2 small organisations that merged in 2019. Both of those were using Salesforce. Both of those were less than 10 users. So they were using Salesforce because they got those 10 seats for free. Hindsight, they could have done the merger a lot better. There's an awful lot of ends that we're still picking up. So I am taking over from a wonderful Mary Poppins who came in, sorted a lot of problems out, surfaced an awful lot more, has started to get the organisation embedded in Salesforce. I'm now taking over from that, but breaking down some silos and doing some really interesting work. So my title is CRM Manager. I am the Salesforce person within the organisation. So I'm reaching out to the Supermums network, to all the networks that exist within Salesforce for support. And I spend an awful lot of my time on ChatGPT going, how do I? But I would say my predecessor has described my role as a dev admin. So I am responsible for data quality, for all the day-to-day parts of Salesforce, but also for developing new ways of doing things and bringing in new functionality. So my job over the next few weeks is to implement the regular giving functionalities within NPSP, which is the Salesforce system that we're on, the Nonprofit Success Pack. We have about £8,000 a month income through regular giving, but we don't use the functionality properly. So that's my job. So it's a systems job, but it's also a change management role because I'm changing the way that people are doing things. And that, I think, is the thing to be aware of as well, is a Salesforce role is actually not sitting at your computer isolated and just clicking. A lot of it is working with people. And that's the important thing that I do, is understand the people, understand the way that things are done, and take out all the unnecessary tasks that people are doing so that they can focus on what is really important, which is working with our supporters and working with our funders.